following footsteps, unlighted room, feeling the cold, feeling the gloom. Voices are speaking, around any way, bodies unkept, horrible display.
Good afternoon, and hello to everyone out there. We are special pumped for the debut of season 2 of the Sunday Spin.
We're back, baby.
Can't tell you how excited we are. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in. Hope you enjoyed the new preview. Guys probably sound familiar too. You'll hear more about that later. First off, I want to say hello to my man, Greno. Greno, it's been too long, brother. You're looking good.
Vinny, I can't believe all that jazzercise is paying off for you, baby. Look how good.
Yeah.
You're looking clean and clean, baby.
Feeling good,
Haircut,
baby. Feeling good.
Haircut, everything, man. Fun in the sun. Well, we've been off for a little bit, so, you know, we had some fun in the sun, and Greno did some meditation and a lot of drumming. So, yeah, we're going to be rocking and rolling. But, man, what a guest we've got today, man. One of our best friends, one of the most amazing musicians that Colorado Springs has to offer, one of the most unique, just really at all, period. And I listen to a lot of music. You guys know that. So does Vinny. And without further ado, Mr. Brian Elio, or also AKA Mobdividual. Sir, how are you today?
Super, man. Super. Glad to be here.
Dude, it's great that we appreciate you joining us. And just so people know, the Sunday Spin is powered by Stables Media. And we are brought to you by Grooves in San Francisco. And also a great little record store right here in Colorado Springs. What's Left Records, the Ostro Brothers. We love you guys. So yeah, oh my gosh, we're so happy to have you aboard today on the Sunday Spin. I just can't get over how, Vinny, that shirt looks, man, you got to wear yellow more often, my brother.
Well, I'm going to have to play guilty here, my man. I just got back from baseball tryouts, and this is my lucky baseball undershirt. Yeah, Mazatlan, right? Remember these from junior high school?
Yes, you got it.
Come by. Right, yeah. So worked for me today, I'm happy to say. Hey, special shout out, Tim Ellison. My second baseman was there too.
Yes.
Looking sharp, man. Can't wait to play ball.
Tim,
anyway, Ryan, we are so excited to have you here. What have you been up to? That's the first thing I want to ask, because I haven't talked to you really, aside from, the occasional Facebook pleasantries in, what is it, geez, 7 years, 8 years?
It's
been you look fantastic, my brother.
Yeah.
I mean, just doing, I guess, what everybody else is doing, working and trying to play music and stay inspired as much as I can, pretty much. Hanging out with the family,
That's it's part of what this time is all about, definitely spending time with the fam and your environment right behind you. Vin, isn't that intriguing, huh? Look at that. He's got the drum kit and
it stands to reason though, and I'm unfortunately guilty of being a little fat-headed and not realizing what the name implied for ages. I never put two and two together. Mobdividual, which is genius when you actually see what Mobdividual actually is. Did you come up with that idea? And when you did, how old were you?
I was in between projects when I came up with the word. And for me, it was really just a word. I was kind of obsessed with what the Mars Volta was doing with mashing up words like amputecture. And things like that. And so I wanted to kind of, that's one of my favorites. So I wanted to come up with and at the time it was before I was doing Mobdividual as music. I was still making noise in the basement, and this was before, between 2004 and 2008 or 9 probably.
Okay.
I had I wasn't on Facebook or anything yet, but social media was becoming kind of a big thing, and it was just like people, you can create a Facebook page or a website, and you can really seem like you're a mob type of presence, and it's really just like one or two people. And so that's kind of where some of that came from. But then also like where people, when they get so emotional about political issues or social issues, they don't like think all the way through it sometimes. And you just kind of get the opinions of others and you kind of spit them back out. And so at that point, you're being a mob. You're not really thinking about the information. You're just regurgitating it. And so it's like an individual with the mob mentality, But then when I came time to kind of think of a name for my music, when I really started to work on this, and it's like, okay, all of these like hour plus long noise sessions are kind of congealing into like 20 minutes. And so I recorded that first EP with no name, and I started to look into where I could put it online, because MySpace wasn't really a thing anymore, and that's kind of where I started putting out my music. When I first started recording and putting out music on my own, it was on MySpace. And that gave me a lot of encouragement, because there were a lot of crazy people around the world that were like listening to my crazy music, and I was listening to their crazy music. So I needed a name. When I found Bandcamp, I decided to go with Bandcamp, and I needed a name. Went back through my list of words that I had just kind of written down over the years for future whatevers, and Mobdividual was there. And I was like, this is perfect, because I'm going to be a solo musician with a bunch of pedals and a bunch of amps. And so I'm going to sound like a bunch of musicians, but it's just me. And then I have the extra intensity of this kind of political, social statement as well.
Wow. Brian, you brought up a really interesting point that I would like, if you wouldn't mind, to expand on a little bit. And that is, and G, this as well, is pre-Facebook, MySpace was the place you went. It has a very bad connotation nowadays, but in those days, they were tremendous to artists.
Yeah.
It was not only the only place to go for free, but it worked. And again, things have changed, obviously, but you're right. It was a pre-Facebook age for all of us. G and I, we could go back to the Flintstones type stuff. So we're not going to go there. But I'm really glad you mentioned that, because it's something we all forget as entertainers who are trying to get a name out there. And that's why having guys like you on the show is so important for both of us. To tell our stories.
That was huge for me to self-release my music that way. Because I would make tapes and CDs and just give them to friends, but that's just like 5 or 10 friends that kind of really want to listen to it. When I was able to put my stuff on MySpace, people were like from Italy and Germany and Romania, and some cats I still talk to, man. There's one guy in Boston. I feel like we met on MySpace, and then we kind of have just been listening to each other's music for like 15 years,
That's so awesome.
And so it was like, man, I'm really onto something. Like, people are really liking this. And so it was a lot of encouragement, right, back then.
Another thing and again, fascinating insight, because I do remember a time when in that age, we were getting, I was getting, I'm sure it rings true for you as well, G, but we were getting attention from places that boggles the imagination. Argentina was very, very good to the Mulligans. And you say, why? But they have a tremendous sense of what we were onto, maybe? I don't know. It's all changed. It seems very much more internal. I'd love to maybe get a reply from the both of you as to what you think the other changes are. Why has it gone so internal, our music, where it used to be much more worldwide?
Ooh, that's a great question. Wow.
It's something I think about often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Is it the saturation of social media? Is it that there's so many other people who are doing what we're doing?
Yeah, the ease of making music. now, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Like, I mean, even doing shows around town, you know, before I was doing shows, and just like going to see stuff, you know, bills they weren't all mixed up. I mean, they'd sometimes be mixed up because it's DIY stuff, but for the most part, if you went to go see a heavy band, it was going to be a bunch of heavy bands. Or if you went to go see some kind of chilled out music, it was going to be a bunch of chilled out bands. But you know, the last couple of years, it's like, who knows who's going to show up and what they're going to do. You know, really. I mean, I played with acoustic acts. I played with metal acts. You know, I played with electronic acts. And I think a lot of that has like blown the doors open too, because so many different people are listening to so many different types of music now. You know, it's just tough to cut through. It's really tough to cut through.
Well, and the other thing too, and I mean this with every bit of respect, is obviously Mobdividual is not something you can put into a category and say it's this type of music, because in my opinion, Mobdividual is its own type of music. It defies description. And I mean that with all respect, my friend.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. And it's something that you can't really just kind of casually like put on and just be like, oh, I'm going to do chores to this music. You know, it's not going to like help you work out or whatever.
Yeah. The great thing though, Bri, is that like we talked before the show, Vin, it's just about all the shows that all of our different acts played with Mobdividual. You might have even opened up that Neverness Hoax show. And it's like, it was always an inclusive to your music. Like it always fit with all of the musicians. We were always like, what? Like, Definitely. This is great. Yeah. Like we wanted to, I mean, I can't remember how many times I sat around watching one of your sets going, we should all be in the middle of the desert at midnight with a generator right now, all camping and chilling and listening to your music until 6 a.m.
Oh, that'd be great.
Great point, Greno. Great point.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's do the anonymous collective camping trip.
Heck yeah. Well, Dar Sombra, do you guys remember them? They did a bunch of generator shows.
Yeah. No, it's a great thing. And, you know, also just another poignant thing is just the last show that I performed at, Brian was at and performed as well. And that was just a year ago over at the Triple Nickel. Thank you, Brian Ostro. That was the Thurston Ronaldo group, the super group with CJ. Well, CJ didn't make it. That's right. But CJ's on the record. But it was myself, Colin, Brian Elio, Mark Rabb, and am I missing anyone? And Brian. Oh my gosh, Brian Ostro Patton. Dude, the man with 1,000 voices. That's what I always call him. But you know, it's nice, and Vinny knows this too. Like these moments, man, that we all share together on stage and playing together. I mean, it means more than anything. I don't care if there's 5 people or 100 people there. We've always made our own scene. We've always been inclusive, and we've always, again, like I was saying earlier, people are like, there's no scene. You make a scene. And we've done that the whole time. And Vinny, you've been a part of this scene as well. You don't even live there.
Yeah, absolutely. With you know, with honor. You know, when you guys asked me to join you, and you know, I was floored and of course humbled. But the 719 in general to me has always been so welcoming, open arms the whole way through the community, and it's a great environment. And San Diego for a time was
it's crazy.
Getting that back, and who knows what's going to happen now, but it's really, do you see the bond in the 719 right now? Do you see it coming back after COVID? What are your thoughts for the future out there?
Well, I mean, definitely. I don't know what the state of actual performing will be, but I mean, this community will definitely, once we're able to kind of get out there and do things again, I'm sure there's going to be venues and bands and people to book stuff. But even just to the point of just being inclusive, you know, prior to pandemic, like there's no way that I was going to expect to be kind of accepted, you know, the way that I had been, with this sort of crazy music and even just all these amps, you know. Sound people were like, You're still bringing stuff in. How many people are in your band? It's just me. And it's like, you're still bringing stuff in. And I'm like, it'll be fine, you know. And they're like, okay, we'll just mic it up and sound check it and let's go for it.
It's hard to understand till you hear it and see it, frankly.
Yeah. And so people were never really afraid of it too much. You know, they were always just kind of curious by it. And then once I really got going, you realize that you just kind of got to sit down and close your eyes and roll with it. You know, you know, and I think once people do that, I mean, it was a lot of fun, especially at places like the Flux Capacitor. You know, when like Brian and Nick, they were like, dude, your music is pretty heavy. We're going to put you on some heavy bills if that's cool. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You know? Yeah.
And you played on some amazing bills.
Oh man, some incredible stuff. And but the kids before me and after me, you know, the bands are kind of raucous and everybody's kind of doing their thing. And then to see, you know, all of those same people just like sitting down for 30 minutes while they're listening to me play. It's just really cool, man.
I'm so glad he brought that up, Greno, because, you know, that lightning bolt just went off in my head. You remember a band called Piss Jar?
Piss Jar, yeah.
Remember Piss Jar, guys? Weren't they dynamite? But yeah, get out of their way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, I think the show I remember the most from the Flux that you played was the one that we all jammed with you. With the amps, we all brought
the bring your own. Yep, the bring your own amp and
like,
effects.
How many people? There was a lot. Was that opening up for?
It was like
Tim Kaiser.
Tim Kaiser. Yep.
Oh my God, that guy. That was
ridiculous.
This Tim Kaiser guy. It's like it's so indescribable. It's electronic sounding, but it's like
he makes all of his own. He makes all of his own little sound.
Yeah,
instrument.
Definitely seek him out. I'll send you a track, but I found a double 7-inch of his over at What's Left Records. Folks, you got to check him out. What's Left Records.
Brothers.
You know what I mean? But yeah, Brian, that show was so memorable. And then I had the honor, Vinny, I don't know if you know this, of actually drumming for Mobdividual live at one show.
Yeah, I would love to hear about it.
First and only live drummer I've ever had.
Oh, wow. What was the inspiration, Brian?
It was an art show. That was when I was in an art collective, the Future Fossil Foundation, and we were doing art exhibits in Manitou twice a year. And since I was the musician in the art collective, I would book all the bands. And so I don't remember what you were doing at the time, Glenn, but then we were like, well, let's just jam, you know? And so the drums were up there. And so we just did a little bit.
It might have
I feel like you did your mind eraser thing.
Yeah. Remember, because we also did a show outside the venue by that piano, and I played that. There was that piano turned on its side or whatever, and I was playing that. And I remember too, because my 4-year-old daughter Alex filmed like the whole thing, and I was like, oh my God, this kid,
crazy!
Wow, the patience to do that type of thing. But
I think we had you. Maybe that was a different. Maybe it was a couple different art shows. Yeah, Drug Flowers did play that one.
Those kids, they were cool, man. I like that. They were fun. Definitely good times, man. Wow, it's overwhelming. So, Brian, you have a lot. Like we have a neat little ticker now, and so I'm gonna talk. You're gonna talk about. And you and Vinny are about your music and where you can get it, because I'm going to let people know right here on the bottom of the screen, since it's we got this handy dandy thing powered by Stables Media. And
beautiful thing about it is our audience is all familiar with Bandcamp, especially, and it looks to me from what I'm seeing, you're a Bandcamp guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
And so for pandemic though, you know, I played. It was funny. Facebook reminded me that I played my first show 10 years ago last week.
Wow! Congratulations.
Thanks, man. I played my last show a year ago maybe like 3 weeks ago, like the end of January. And that was at a great venue in Denver, Glitter City Nights. I still talk with a couple of those cats. We've just kept in touch. But when and I had actually a show booked. Sean Ostro, I can't remember what it was going to be or where it was going to be, but we had to cancel it because it was like, oh man, things are getting bad, things are starting to shut down, so we just better cancel this show. And so I would have had a show the same week, 10 years apart. Had I played that gig, I would have had one 10 years apart from each other. But with the prospect of really not having to play or perform or do any art shows or anything like that, because I did a lot of art exhibits too, where I would play like an opening or a closing for some artists who asked me, or a gallery, usually friends, or a curator. And I'd play like 3 or 4 hours just as kind of background noise, But with that not really going to being a thing anymore, I decided to just record like freaking crazy, the way I used to. So I got me a Zoom 16 track, which is pretty cool. I haven't had all of my kind of home recording equipment has kind of slowly died and crapped out on me over the years. And I hadn't really recorded at home since the 6th EP. So I have 7 EPs proper, and the first 6 were all recorded by myself at home. And then the 7th one is Untitled Monolith, and that has Alex Koshak on drums. So that's the only album I actually made with someone, and I made it at a studio. It was formerly known as Right Hill Music. Adam Hawkins recorded it, and it sounds incredible. We did it all in one take. Yeah, and that was a lot. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. But I haven't. I mean, my true passion is really recording at home. I started playing instruments to record records. I just loved music so much, and you guys get this, just so much that it was like, I got to do this too. Like I can't. I'm gonna find a way to be a part of.
I like to call it the conscious, unconscious decision.
Passion, whether it's just being a band now. And so I just wanted to use this time wisely, I guess. Like we were talking before. Yeah, like we were talking before. Yeah, I don't have the pressure of like rehearsing or having new material to perform, or make sure I've got the new material up to snuff in order to perform, or a gallery isn't going to call me, or an artist isn't going to call me to collaborate, and I'm not going to have to kind of get my stuff together. And so it's like I can leave, everything broken down and disassembled and reassembled and all these different ways every single day. I haven't been able to do music like this for a while.
It's exciting, man. Good stuff. I found a couple of old discs of yours. Let's see. Let's take a look.
Break them out.
So that's the first 3. That's the first 3 EPs, and this is like 2010. I want to say 2011.
2010 and 11. Yep.
Okay. So let's see. What's the order? Is it Sound One Hears His Music? Is that the first EP?
That was the 3rd one.
Okay.
But it's funny because I recorded A Year from Monday, and that was the one that I didn't really have a name for, and I just gave it to some friends, and one of my I just gave it to some friends, and a friend of mine was like, "Oh man, this is cool. Can you put together a set?" But then it got me really thinking, like, I should figure out how to get this online, because MySpace wasn't a thing anymore.
Yeah.
And Bandcamp was new at the time, and so that's where I ended up putting it up there. So I recorded that first one, and I was like, well, I've still got some ideas left over, so I made the second one, which is Windows Music. And there's some parts in there where I hadn't quite hadn't quite figured it out, like what I exactly wanted to do, but I was like, it's cool enough. I'll just have it like this. And then that's when I started performing. It was after the second one I started to get some shows. And while I was doing some of those shows, I figured out that part that I couldn't figure out. And so I made Sounds One Hears is Music, kind of finishing the ideas from the first two.
Nice.
And so, and so when you listen, so when I recorded them, it's Year from Monday, Windows, and then Sounds. But when you listen to it, it's better to listen to them A Year from Monday, Sounds, and let Windows finish it. Because I had this like epic ending on Windows to Music.
Would you describe it as a trilogy, Brian?
Oh, definitely.
It is a trilogy then. Yeah. So nice job on the packaging. Because
thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah, it's the first clue. But I love that. And I know Greno can identify with that because a lot of his work is very much like that. And no, I mean, fantastic creativity, unbelievable musicianship. You're a pro. You're pro's pro.
Right on, man. Thanks.
Yeah,
man.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Any shout outs today, my friend?
Yeah.
We always like to ask. Yeah. Any shout outs, Brian?
Who, for me?
To
someone else?
Today.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I can't even think right now. You know, I've been still kind of kicking around ideas with my friend Connor, the changing to new stuff and doing some new crazy music. So yeah. It's crazy right now, man. I don't even know who's still doing music. You know, CJ Hackett is still doing some stuff. I haven't listened to the cover that I haven't listened to the cover that Colin put together yet, but Colin's been recording like crazy.
Yep. Anonymous Collective, baby. You're naming our whole roster. See, we're all on fire. Skinny Mulligans,
I know.
Vinny
I don't even know anybody else doing music, man. It's only this crew.
Well, you know, it's like in the old days when they say, you know, you had to live the blues to play the blues. I think we're all finding that you have to live the shut-in to be the shut-in, and we have no choice but to express ourselves. And yes, it's going to be a creative boom when the doors are finally opened up. But regardless, the creativity is going to be there, and it is very exciting. It seems like everywhere you turn, somebody's bringing something out. It's got to be like it was in England in '67.
Like I was wondering, like, how many like Robert Johnsons are going to show up where it's like you weren't even playing guitar before pandemic and now you're like the riff master, you know?
Indeed. But more to the point, the people you know are all releasing stuff left, right, and center. And every week it's, hey, you know, this guy did something here. And another guy that you know has brought out another record next week. There's never been this quantum line of productivity and one-upmanship, even if you will, because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. And it's a sanity thing, man. I can't
creative output. Yeah.
I can't be diving into the news the way I did at the very beginning of everything anymore, man. It's just too much for me.
Yeah. So what choice do we have? We go to our music.
Right there with you. Exactly, Brian. Man, thanks for joining us. What an epic Sunday spin, man. It's been a gift.
It went quick, didn't it? It went really quick. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, absolutely. You got to come back.
Thank you. This was great. Absolutely.
Super concise.
Yeah, next time.
Let's pay a couple bills, though. First of all, Stables Media team, we love you. Powered by Stables Media and StreamYard. Give a little shout out to a high school friend that's in a coma right now. Mike Hudson, we love you. We're thinking about you. And everybody in Poway and everyone that knows you, man, we care about you, love you, and we want to see this through with you. Also, check out the YouTube channel. A variety of wonderful programming from Hustle to Grind, That's Amore, Freedom to Rock Granted, SoCal Smackdown, Ponderous Mike. I'm doing pretty good, man.
Don't forget our man Vasu Vada Party. Take the money and run. Yeah.
Take the money and run.
Take the money and run. Yeah.
Stir the Pot. Man, all these, what a gift. The stable.
Pondering Mics with
Yes.
our best friend from the 6'4". Can't
I
forget her.
No, I'm just playing because I actually remembered that one. What's Left Records, we love you. I might be down there later on today. Grooves Records in San Francisco, keep on keeping on. You guys got to get to their Discogs page. They've been closed for a while, so it's been hard times out there in Cali. Next week, Talking Hours. Wonderful people, a great band from Albuquerque, New Mexico, a two-piece. And they're fantastic people. But man, speaking of wonderful people, I'm so blessed to be working with Mr. Vinny G each and every week.
Likewise, Wasabi wouldn't want to do it with anybody else. Wouldn't be half the fun. Thank you, buddy.
Mr. Brian Elio, it's always a pleasure to spend time
Absolutely,
with you,
man.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Rock on, my friend.
we didn't
We're
even
watching
talk
from
about
Cali.
local FM, you guys. That's what's crazy. That's the link between us is the local FM. But we'll talk. Yep, there you
Good
go.
old local FM, yeah.
We'll talk about it next time. Some people don't even know what that is. I mean, like,
Oh man, it's crucial in the success story, right, Greno?
Well, and to knowing all of you, man, that's how I met a lot of y'all. CJ
Yeah,
We might not be here today if it weren't for local FM in a lot of ways, G.
so
Yep.
true, man. And on that note, a shout out to our friend CJ Hackett as well, because he kept it.
Yeah.
He kept it going, and like, wow, what a wonderful thing that we've all been a part of. So you guys look out for great music from Mobdividual. He's got great stuff on Bandcamp, all the ambient demos. I think Volume 4 just came out.
No, I'm working on it right now.
You're a maniac, by the way.
And
thought I
yeah,
did one of these
volume 4 and 5 get into some of my new effects because I have finally bought some new pedals.
Yeah.
During pandemic, I was looking at my stuff and it's like, man, I've been using the same stuff for like 10 years.
Fantastic.
Except for a couple. So I bought some new devices and there's some new noises. So 4 and 5 is going to get a little different.
Okay.
1 through 3 has been my same sort of usual setup.
Awesome. Well, let's end the show with an anonymous collective Blast from the Past. This is a tune called As This Cough Will Choke Me. This is from Mobdividual's Embrace Your Babes and Write Me a Line. And
Awesome.
yeah, so float into the netherworlds with this one. We'll see you guys next week. Again, Sunday.
Later, man.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks.
City G. He's Brian Elio. Don't call him that. Call him Mobdividual.
See you next week.
Laters.
Every day is a gift. We love you guys. Stay positive, but more important, stay sexy, baby. We'll see you next week. All right, let's pull this off. There it is. Should do like a spoken word thing over it or something, Brian.
Right?
Let's go for like 15, 20 seconds.
It'll probably be feedback and tremolo for at least that long.
That's one of the things.